In the 1960s.
The show was called Riverwalk Jazz. The musicians Cullum brought to his stage helped the genre grow in San Antonio, and eventually that radio show was broadcast across the country.
He was bringing musicians to San Antonio, really started to foster, I think, that first big wave of jazz in San Antonio. A lot of people remember the Landing, you know?
That kind of mentorship is a jazz signature. Education passed down by successful artists to those who aspire to be. And it's still happening here in the Alamo City.
Do dot is what I should hear in the intro.
Dr. Adrian Ruiz is a performing jazz artist.
I'm a trumpet player professionally.
And also the director of jazz.
From KSAT 12, the 6 o'clock news starts right now.
Volunteer fire departments in Guadalupe County say they may have to shut down. They say they're not getting enough money in the county's proposed budget to stay up and running.
Our Sarah Costa spoke with the New Berlin and Lake Dunlap volunteer fire departments about their concerns. And one man also told her that he wouldn't be alive if it weren't for those volunteer firefighters.
Would you be alive if it wasn't for the Lake Dunlap Volunteer Fire Department?
No, I wouldn't.
Jay Harmon lives right on Lake Dunlap. And it was the volunteer fire department who got to him first when he suffered a stroke last year, giving him life-saving treatment before he was taken to San Antonio. It's why he says Guadalupe County needs to continue to give volunteer fire departments the funds they need.
You never know if it's going to be you until the day you have to pick up the phone and dial 911 and ask for their help. That's what they're there for.
But after Guadalupe County's recent proposed budget, Lake Dunlap and New Berlin volunteer fire departments say they will have to shut down within a year or so due to low funding from the county.
We requested $213,000. We're currently at $60,000, and they upped us to $84,000. And with the rising costs and mechanical issues, the equipment that we need for our firefighters, it's not enough.
He says they need new tires, brakes, and repairs to their trucks and new air packs that won't be in compliance by next year. It's why they need the over $200,000. Not to mention the amount of calls they are responding to. He says 5 years ago, it was about 100 a year, and now it's about 500.
Our call volume has doubled over the past couple years, where our budget has not.
Precinct 1 Commissioner Jacqueline Ott says she voted against the proposed tax increase and budget that didn't give the volunteer fire departments what they need. She hopes come September 2nd, when other commissioners and the county judge vote to approve the line budget, changes can be made.
Currently, there are $45.6 million in that unassigned general fund. And I believe that it would be appropriate for us to take the money that we need to make these fire departments operational and safe and use that money on that.
New Berlin Volunteer Fire Department says they need equipment upgrades as well. Otherwise, it can only operate for a couple more years. Assistant Chief Charles Mills says it's never been about getting paid. It's always been about saving lives.
2 or 3 years ago, we had a lady drive off into Cibolo Creek, and I was the one that went into the water to get her out of the car. Our motto is neighbors helping neighbors. That's all we do.
Sarah Costa, KSAT 12 News.
Guadalupe County Judge Kyle Kutcher spoke with Sarah about the concerns of the volunteer fire departments, and you'll get more of that conversation tonight on the Night Beat.
One man's future may depend on what San Antonio homicide investigators find in the present. They're reviewing evidence from a shooting around 4 this morning inside of a downtown apartment. Police found a 28-year-old woman shot to death inside the ground floor unit on South Flores near Cesar Chavez Boulevard. They also took a man into custody for questioning after that. Although the original call was for an accidental shooting, police say the case is still under investigation. Most neighbors told us that they slept through all of this and were surprised by what they saw when they woke up.
We see the crime scene unit right here, so we poked our head and we see all these yellow tape, and we're kind of just wondering, what happened last night.
Initial reports were that someone inside the apartment was either mishandling or playing with a rifle. We saw crime scene investigators carrying what looked like at least 2 long guns out of that unit.
New at 6 tonight, a San Antonio police officer is facing charges for driving while intoxicated. SAPD says that Officer David McCall turned himself into the Bexar County Sheriff's Office after a warrant that was issued for his arrest.
McCall had a blood alcohol content of 0.238. That's nearly 3 times the legal limit. Officer McCall is an 18-year veteran with the department, and he is currently on administrative duty, which is department policy during an investigation.
The search is on for the people who were involved in an armed robbery. It happened at an ATM along Southwest Loop 410 right near Rigsby Avenue. That's where San Antonio police say that at least 3 masked men attacked a man who was working at that ATM. SAPD says that those suspects hit him in the head with a gun and then took off with the money. Investigators say that suspects were driving a white Audi SUV. So if you know anything about the suspects, you can call 210-207-0300.
Just 3 days into Derek Cole's injury to a child trial, and the case is already now in the hands of a jury. Coles is accused of severely abusing his 12-year-old son, Danilo, who died in February of 2022. Coles is facing up to life in prison if he is convicted. Capri Cheatham, who was Cole's wife at the time, is also charged in connection with this case, and she is now awaiting trial.
Happening tomorrow, a federal judge in San Antonio is going to hear arguments on whether to block a new Texas law that would require the 10 Commandments to be posted in every public classroom.
So you might remember that Governor Abbott signed that bill into law back in June. The change would go into effect on September 1st. Now the ACLU of Texas and other civil liberties groups say the law violates the First Amendment, and more than a dozen families are suing 11 school districts, which include Alamo Heights, Northeast, Northside, and Lackland ISDs.
On the other hand, supporters are arguing that posting the 10 Commandments in classrooms will encourage better behavior among students. This is a challenge for San Antonio city leaders. They need to close a $173 million budget gap because revenues from property and sales tax are growing slower than their expenses.
So today, city staff presented a $4 billion spending plan, and the city manager said that despite that deficit, there would be no major impact to city services. But as City Hall reporter Garrett Bernscher reports, council members have something else they want to see added.
In a belt-tightening budget year, San Antonio is counting every green dollar. But some council members still want more blue uniforms.
If public safety is the #1 priority, you start with adding the 65 officers like the plan was, and then you build the rest of the budget around it.
The city has a plan to add 360 patrol officers over 5 years to allow more time for proactive policing. It added 165 in the first 2, but given the deficit concerns, city staff did not include any more when they started working on this budget. However, that's changed.
It's a balance between what we can afford and what's a priority, and obviously public safety was a priority.
But even with 25 new patrol officers now in the budget, some council members are still clamoring for more.
I do want us to continue to explore how adding 65 police officers instead of 25 will look like.
To me, the 65 is the floor. We need 100. Let's get the 100.
Not everyone is so eager.
Technically, there are 6 new people sitting up here that haven't had the benefit to see that plan or the details of that or what's been done since that's been enacted.
And the San Antonio Police Department budget is by far the biggest in the city's general fund.
I guess I want to look at reducing our investment here because every time we hire new officers, we lock ourselves into future investments required by the CBA.
Staff say adding another 40 officers would take about $2.1 million in the first year.
Changes that the council would like to make as a group, we've got to figure out how to pay for it.
Councilman Mark White suggested using money meant to keep a low-barrier homeless shelter open an extra year.
Would we rather use that money keeping people in our neighborhoods safe, keeping their property safe, or do we want to do this low-barrier shelter?
Every budget decision is some kind of trade-off.
Now, in regards to that budget deficit, it's $173 million over 2 years, and they have taken steps to close that, so deficit not in play at the moment. But one thing that they did not consider, because council members made it clear, is they are not planning to raise the property tax rate. Obviously, a big question for homeowners.
Okay, so obviously these are just proposals at this point. When it comes to the city employees, so we looked this up together, something like 14,000 people, including police and fire departments, they work for the city. How would city employees be affected in this, though?
Well, police and firefighters, we've heard, they're adding police. There's a couple firefighters being added as well. But civilians, they're actually going to be eliminating a few dozen civilian positions. A lot of those are vacant right now, but the ones that are filled, city staff say, this isn't a layoff. They're going to be able to bridge them into another position. They're not going to, they're going to lose this particular job, but they're still going to have one just somewhere else in the city that's open right now.
So a fraction of the employees would be affected by that. What about salaries within the city? Is that staying flat?
Nope, those are going up. So the police and firefighters both have union contracts that guarantee raises. The firefighters getting a big one after their most recent contract, an 8% bump. Police get 4%. And civilians, the civilian employees who make up most of the city workforce, though, they're looking at about a 2% increase. Originally, staff had been considering 3%, but that was one of the ways they cut into the budget deficit was taking that away. But we've heard council members say they'd like to go back up to 3%. But just as with the police officers, if you want to put something in, you're going to have to find a way to pay for it.
Yeah, like you said, it is a trade-off, and this is just a proposal, so more to come. All right, thanks. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you. So now we're going to take a live look outside, see what's happening out there. And oh my God, I just look at the temperature there, 100 degrees. Okay, but now we talk about the traffic. And this is Highway 90 at Loop
1604.
1604. Sorry, my eyesight is not that great. So obviously traffic there looks to be pretty backed up at this hour. We don't know exactly why that is. I haven't seen any reports of any accidents, but we'll check up on that in just a bit.
So to come here at 6, it is a story more than 8 decades in the making. Coming up a little bit later in the show, how a book that was checked out in the 40s finally found its way back to San Antonio.
Also coming up next, we know that you worry about your kids, but do you know what they're worried about? After the break, we're going to hear about some of the challenges that they may have at school and also how you can help them.
The Together for Texas concert is happening on Monday, August 18th. Performers include Lyle Lovett and Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias. It's happening at the Tobin Center, and all proceeds go to Hill Country flood relief efforts. Tickets are still available. They start at $35, and you can also catch the concert live right here on KSAT 12 and the KSAT Plus app. As school starts, kids and teens are back in a fun, yet environmentally, socially challenging area. When it comes to things like mental health, bullying, and online safety, kids don't always open up to adults about that.
But some of them are talking to Crime Stoppers teams. Courtney Friedman tells us what kids are asking them.
Crime Stoppers presents at schools across Texas about tough topics, and specialist Callie Conklin says her non-judgmental approach actually gets kids talking.
Because students always come up to us afterwards and ask questions, or they email their counselors or they email us. So we decided to compile a list.
Okay, so the first question listed was, how can I tell if a relationship, friendship, or romantic is toxic or unhealthy?
And what it comes down to is, how do you feel when you're with this person? Do you feel like they're trying to control or manipulate you? They're putting you down? Do you feel like they're trying to make decisions for you about where you go, who you spend time with?
If someone is bullying me or a friend online, what steps can we take to make it stop? And what if reporting it doesn't work?
They want a reaction or a rise out of their target. So really the best way to stop it in its tracks is to ignore it. If that doesn't work, is to ask the bully to stop. If they still do not stop, this is when we need to report it. If the trusted adult that you confide in does not help you, keep looking. I always encourage them to use their school's anonymous reporting tool. We also have an anonymous reporting tool at Crime Stoppers.
The third is, what are the risks of sharing private photos or texts, and what can I do if someone is threatening to share something I sent?
When they take a photo and send it, the minute it leaves their device, they absolutely relinquish control. And in terms of the photos, yes, it is illegal for them to send. However, I don't want that to discourage anyone from coming forward if they find themselves in a scary situation.
Because they are the victim in that.
Because they are the victim. Yes, absolutely. The number one thing to do is to not comply with the demand. And this is how we see children winding up in human trafficking situations. Second of all, get help. Tell a trusted adult. I know it's embarrassing. I know it's hard. I look at them and I say, we all make mistakes sometimes.
The good news is kids are opening up about this and wanting to stay safe. There are 2 more top questions on that list that include online safety, skipping school, and vaping, and we have those on KSAT.com. From the newsroom, Courtney Friedman, KSAT 12 News.
All right, let's take a look outside with live cam here at 6 o'clock. Plenty of heat and a few clouds providing shade if you can find it.
All right, but our buddy Adam is looking at a situation way east of us, the Gulf.
Yeah, down in the Gulf, we've had some recent development there, a little disturbance, and there's the off chance of some organization and strengthening. If it were to get a name, honestly, it wouldn't change the outcome for us, and it really wouldn't change the overall impact to Texas. But that system boosts our rain chances as we get into Saturday. That's the key here, and here's the system I'm talking about. You look at the last 12 hours, it really flared up early this morning over the Bay of Campeche. Now as it's headed to the northwest, starting to lose a little bit of its luster, but still it's a cluster of thunderstorms with a lot of upper level energy and deep tropical moisture that's going to head our way. Hurricane Center has it at a 40% chance of becoming a tropical depression, maybe a low end tropical storm. Either way, that cluster of storms is going to head to the northwest and most likely move into about South Padre area, Brownsville, and then near or right up along the Rio Grande, which actually would set us up in the sweet spot for rain chances with this. Now, here's the situation and here's why. More than anything, this is some upper level energy, rain-making energy, and deep tropical moisture. So we'd be talking some scattered tropical downpours that would be moving in. Along the Gulf Coast on Friday, Saturday morning, we could wake up to scattered showers even around San Antonio and surrounding areas. Now, the upper energy should track right over the Rio Grande. Now, that would put us on the east side of it, and that's the better position to be in in terms of rain chances. If we were on the other side, we'd likely be drier. So as of now, it looks promising for our rain chances on Saturday. Still, I mean, 40%. We're not talking anything significant here, but for what we typically see in August, this is something. Now, notice tomorrow, several showers offshore and also moving right along the Gulf Coast and being thrown inland in the afternoon. One or two could pop up or make its way to San Antonio, but I think most of it generally between I-10 and I-35 tomorrow. We get into Saturday morning, that's when things change a little bit because of that upper level energy and deeper tropical moisture that's headed our way. But notice even around sunrise, areas of rain popping up. We get into the midday hours and the showers should become a little more numerous. And again, about 40% coverage at any point on Saturday, especially midday and afternoon. Now we have one day off from rain chances, that's Sunday, but then next week is going to look and feel a lot like this week, where we've had these just about daily pop-up random brief showers in the afternoons. Right now, we don't really have anything to speak of on authority radar. One shower near Uvalde, we'll look at that at 6:45. By and large, we are dry. Then we also have Tropical Storm Erin slowly working its way into warmer waters, which will strengthen it into a hurricane. And then in the days to come, likely a major, at least Category 3 hurricane into the early part of next week, Monday and Tuesday, most likely steering east of the U.S. and potentially impacting Bermuda more than anybody. 101, that's the update. That's what we hit today. 3 degrees shy of the record set back in 2020. Another triple-digit day. That would make it 14 triple-digit days so far this year. Tomorrow morning, we start the day at 78, 91 at noon, 98 the high temperature, so near 100, give or take a little bit. Most of us, though, I think upper 90s tomorrow, 100 along the Rio Grande. Saturday, 96 because of the enhanced rain chances. Then Sunday, sunny, back to 100. And next week, seeing some more rain chances. It's promising to at least have some hope.
All right. Thank you, Adam.
Okay, when I'm looking at this, what I'm also thankful for is that the NBA just released its schedule. So we know when the Spurs are playing, something to look forward to.
Yeah, and some of their games and dates have been leaked out the last few days anyway, so we had sort of an idea what was going on, right, that they're playing on Christmas Day. They're going to open up at the Dallas Mavericks. Well, now we have their entire schedule, and we got some more key dates for you. Plus, the Smithson Valley Rangers in high school football, they are ready to defend their state championship coming up.
I will tease that we're going to give Coyote a little bit more firepower in the t-shirt toss this year. So fans sitting everywhere in the arena can look forward to, flying t-shirts.
The Spurs are cooking up ways to entertain fans for the new season in big board sports. It's NBA schedule release day. We now know the San Antonio Spurs' full lineup for the 2025-26 season. The Spurs will appear in 22 nationally televised games, 2 of which will air right here on KSAT 12. Last season, the Spurs experienced one of their biggest transitions in franchise history. The legendary Coach Pop stepped down, and now first-time head coach Mitch Johnson will try to make the Spurs title contenders once again with a very talented and well-rounded roster featuring Victor Wembanyama, De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, and company. Mary Rominger was at the Frostbank Center at the time of the NBA schedule reveal today and talked to the team's senior VP of brand engagement, Becky Kimbrough, and here's what she had to say about some of the key games the Spurs were picked for.
I think it's huge to be tapped for any of the NBA's premier games, Christmas Day, of course, being one of the biggest. We've also got matches this year on New Year's Eve, which is going to be an absolute party here at the Frostbank Center. And then we also play on Martin Luther King Day against the Utah Jazz. So anytime the team gets tapped for those major milestone moments that the NBA has sort of identified as big tent poles, it's exciting to see.
And here are some more key dates for you. October 22nd, the Spurs will tip off the season at Cooper Flag and the Dallas Mavericks. The Spurs home opener is October 26th at 1 p.m. with Brooklyn. The Spurs will host NBA champion OKC Thunder on December 23rd before playing at OKC on Christmas Day at 1:30 in the afternoon. The I-35 series in Austin will go down February 19th and 21st versus Phoenix and Sacramento at the Moody Center. And the Spurs regular season finale is April 12th with Denver at the Frostbank Center. For the Spurs' complete schedule, go to the sports page on KSAT.com. Up in Spring Branch, the defending Class 5A D1 state champions are back on the field and getting ready to defend their title. Back in late December, the Smithson Valley Rangers beat Highland Park 32-20 to win state. The first one for head coach Larry Hill. Smithson Valley starts the new season ranked number 2 in the state in Class 5A D1 behind Aledo per Dave Campbell's Texas Football. The Rangers are now the hunted, and the champs know it's time to turn the page.
Yeah, like I said, it was such an amazing time, and it felt like we'd never get over it and we'd be so happy about it. But now it's showing up this early in the morning, and it's kind of making me realize we got to go. We got a new season. We got a whole new story.
It shows us we can do it, and it shows that our players are ready, and we know the preparation we need, and we knew what we needed to do this offseason to get ready and get back after it this season.
I mean, we've been prepared since spring ball for this new year. I mean, we understand that we have a lot of expectations coming off the state run, of course, last year.
There is a reset. You start again. I mean, it's a new set of faces, and even guys who are coming back have different roles in some cases, replacing leaders. There's just a reset, and so we're not really spending any time. We're proud of what has happened, but we're not spending any time rehashing it.
The Rangers will open the season Friday, August 29th at home with Roosevelt at 7 p.m.
Thank you, Larry.
Yep.
All right, coming up after the break, we're talking about things to do this weekend in Puro Picks. Woohoo! Next. We got some breaking news right now. Derek Coles has been found guilty on 5 of the 6 counts that he was facing in his child injury trial.
So we've been covering this. Coles was on trial for severely abusing his 12-year-old son, Danilo, who died back in February of 2022.
So now after this verdict, he is facing up to life in prison. The judge will determine his sentence at a later date. All right, we're starting our weekend a day early, or at least we're going to talk about it, and focusing on all the cool things happening around San Antonio for the next few days.
Because why not, right? Let's welcome back our friend Stephanie Guerra. She is here with Puro Picks. Welcome.
Hello, I'm back. It's still summer for a whole nother month.
This is true. Yes, exactly. So we have plenty to celebrate. So speaking of tomorrow, we have something at the Lighthouse Lounge.
Yes, we're Thursday. We got time to plan ahead,
yes.
Right? So this Friday is the 6th anniversary of the Lighthouse Lounge. I know I've mentioned them a few times because I just love this place, and it's right on the edge of Woodlawn Lake. They are celebrating with a great group, LA 45, DJ Sunny Boy, and poetry readings. This one is 21 and up, so don't take your kids out there tomorrow night. They probably need some rest anyways, right, from the first week of back to school. But, you know, it's a big deal for venues to make it over 5 years. You know, local bars, restaurants, establishments, they're really struggling right now. August is their hardest month. It's hot, it's back to school, so we want to get out there and support them for their anniversary and keep it going.
Okay, so here it is, mid-August, and yet we are talking about Krampus.
Well, it's Krampus in August at least. I think we've obviously heard so much about San Antonio's Krampus Parade. They had a fiesta event. They had a winter event, right, for Christmas, which is typically when you see Krampus. And now they're having Krampus in August at Elsewhere. So this should be a fun party. Costumes are encouraged. They will have cocktails, cryptids. I heard a little bit of chaos, but it's going to be fun chaos. Having the Scream Fest. You know, people are obsessed with Summerween. I see Halloween decor everywhere. So I think they're just leaning into that spirit. Give some people some, like, creepy joy this weekend.
Okay, all right.
People have fun with the Krampus events here in San Antonio. So it really is a costume party. Obviously, pick some cool costumes because it's still going to be hot this weekend. But a fun event mid-year, right? It's still a fun way to celebrate whatever Krampus celebrates.
So Paws and Pores.
I thought this was such a cute event because I have a dog, so I'm always like, where can I take my dog? Indoors, right? So Casa Gipso is the first Mexican wine bar that we have in San Antonio. So they have Mexican wines, they do tastings, flights, classes, and they're actually gonna have a dog-friendly event on Saturday called Paws and Pores. So for the ticket price of $30, you get 2 glasses of wine for the dog parents. Dogs are not allowed to drink. And then treat bags for your furry friends. It's just a really unique thing, I thought, you know, to have dogs come hang out and drink some wine with you in the AC, so you don't have to worry about being outside. And another really cool thing about Casa Gipso is they are actually having a grand opening for their La Vida location Friday night. So if you want to join one or the other, just a really great locally owned wines, Latina-owned wine shop. Go check out all the Mexican wines that they have.
Okay, so this next event, if you're into back to school and wings, sounds like this one would be for you.
Who loves Wayne's Wings? Everybody loves Wayne's Wings. So Wayne's Wings is a fantastic San Antonio wing place. They've got multiple locations. They're having their inaugural 2025 field day. So it is a back to school event. They're going to be having free backpacks, free food. So I'm sure that includes wings, free fun. I saw that it was sponsored by Tay Tay, so some local celebs at Copernicus Park. So that's just going to be a really fun new thing for us to enjoy back to school, petting zoos, dunk tank, really get like a field day, you know, instead of just going, picking up your backpack, getting your shots and your haircut, which is super needed. You can have some fun, play around on the field at the park, and have some delicious wings. They're one of my favorite places.
Just do a little bit of everything. Okay, and then on Monday, we talked about this before, but the Together for Texas benefit.
Yes, I love that you all are providing so much support for this event. We are still raising funds for our Hill Country and Texas friends affected by the floods. So this one is at the Tobin Center. An amazing night. Tickets start at only $35. Lau Lovett, Gabriel Iglesias, Fluffy, Los Lonely Boys, David Ramirez, Steve Trevino is going to be hosting, Dale Watson, Bree Bagwell, so many amazing artists coming together to raise funds. And there's still, multiple ongoing benefits throughout August. Everybody asks, well, why are we still having them? Because they still need support, and they're still going to need support for many months to come. So it's great that we're still continuing to fundraise.
Yeah, the need's there, and it's evolving.
Yes.
So this next event, our friends over at TPR, Texas Public Radio, hosting something.
Yeah, so I am loving all of these events that they're hosting in their Irma and Emilio Nicholas Media Center. So the theater inside of TPR's headquarters downtown. This one is San Antonio Chef Ambassadors. So you will get to hear from a panel of great local chefs and people that help make our city of gastronomy. So Chef Geronimo from Hotel Emma, Colleen Swain from World Heritage Office, instructor from the CIA, Chef Jaime Gonzalez, and then moderated by Marian Navarro, who's amazing. And it's just going to be a fun, free panel where you can learn what makes San Antonio's food amazing and the people behind it, and how that sets the national stage for San Antonio, right? So I just went to one recently about our James Beard nominated chefs, and they keep coming with these amazing free panels. Parking is free around there, so go enjoy it. It's right on San Pedro Creek, but check out Texas Public Radio's website for their great events.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
That sounds good.
And as you
Stephanie,
mentioned, no.
We're all going to party together.
No, I know, but I just wanted to mention because Naco Mexican Eats is going to be there. I mean, and they're a wonderful couple also from Mexico, and their food is delicious.
And they're right down the street here downtown.
They're at KSAT for all the things to celebrate.
Yes.
So we appreciate them.
We love Naco. Yes, go enjoy some food from Naco and hear from the chefs, and that way you're not starving while you're hearing about all this great food. It's a really, really, really fun educational panel. And then typically everybody goes out downtown afterwards, so it's a lot of fun.
Okay, the party continues.
Yes.
Just keep rolling.
Great weekend of events. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, thanks, Stephanie, for being here. Want to mention she's a local influencer. Can't say the handle, but look it up. You'll find her. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
So coming up, we have a Nancy Drew type mystery on our hands. Stephanie's excited about that. A book from the San Antonio Library that was missing for more than 80 years. It's been found, and we're going to show you how after the break. So here's a question. Would you return an overdue library book even if it was 82 years late?
Somebody did.
Yeah.
The San Antonio Library says that happened back in June. Marketing manager Scott Williams tells us a parenting self-help book was mailed to the library from Oregon with a note. The book, titled Your Child, His Family and Friends, was believed to be accidentally packed by the sender's grandmother when she was being transferred to the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City.
One of the really interesting things about this book is that it gives you a little window into what being a patron of the library was like in the 1940s.
So if you're wondering about late fees, that's what I want to know about. The library no longer charges them as of 2021. So when asked for an estimate, Williams says that at a certain point, they would have been asked to just replace the cost of the book. And you can see the book on display over at the San Antonio Public Library's central location through the end of August.
Can you imagine how different a parenting book from 82 years ago?
So much has changed.
Now.
You could just write a book about just allergies.
Oh,
Allergies.
man. All right, let's take a look outside with live cam. You know it's hot out there, but we've got some rain chances to talk about. Oh, and Thermometer Thursday as well, coming your way after the break.
We might be enjoying sunny skies here, but west of us in Uvalde, there's a little something, something.
Yeah, a little bit. A little cute little shower out there, right? Just a lonely little shower that we have on the radar. Here it is, just right over the Nueces, west of Uvalde. Not much to it. Looks like we had one little shower that tried to pop up over Canepa, but couldn't really sustain itself. Not much else out there to speak of when it comes to authority radar. Quiet around San Antonio. Did have a little bit pop up north of Hallettsville right along I-10. And then you get into the hill country over the past hour or two. We've had a few in northwestern Edwards County, but that's it. I mean, significantly less coverage than the past couple of days. And tomorrow's going to be pretty limited in the coverage as well. We're talking 20%. Saturday up to 40%, even from the morning through the midday and early afternoon. That's our main window of opportunity. Sunday's our day off of rain chances. Then next week is going to be a lot like this week with some of those afternoon pop-up random downpours. So here's what we're watching in the Gulf. It's this cluster of storms, this basically tropical wave, a ripple in the upper level flow that's been developing and really not, I wouldn't say organizing, but causing areas of disturbed weather, and rain-making energy is moving our way along with the moisture. There's a slight chance of it organizing into a tropical depression. Even if it gets that title or even a human name, it doesn't change the outcome for us here in Texas and really all across the Lone Star State, especially our area. It really just boosts our rain chances as we get into Saturday. Now notice the sea surface temperatures, very warm Gulf water, talking 85, 86 degrees. I mean, that is fuel for development. However, a couple other factors have to be considered, such as a bit of wind shear and time over the water, and conditions aren't ideal into tomorrow where this disturbance is, this tropical wave, aren't ideal. It still could develop and strengthen a little bit more and organize a bit, but conditions aren't perfect for it. It's running out of real estate space. I like real estate better. Yeah, it's running out of real estate. Oh, this is good. Okay. Something new. It's the little things keep me going. But notice how the track of the energy with it would generally be west of San Antonio. That puts us on the better side for rain-making energy. Notice how the showers are generally on the east side of that upper disturbance. This is the upper level wind flow, and that the center of it would be just to the west, which puts us in the sweet spot for some rain chances, and there'd be some tropical downpours as we get into Saturday. But remember, this is progressive, so the odds of any flooding are still very low because this system's actually moving. Tomorrow, stray shower or two, most of the pop-up storms closer to the Gulf Coast. We get into Saturday, sunrise, already likely to see some pop-up showers, and then some downpours scattered about or widely separated across our area into the midday and afternoon. Again, don't pay close attention to the exact placement, just the coverage of the rain and the intensity is what's important. Then we have Erin, tropical storm, east of the Caribbean, way out there in the Atlantic. It's likely to pass between Bermuda and the east coast of the U.S. as we get into next week. 101 still. Dew point is 62. It feels like 102. Not much of a heat index compared to the air temperature. 105 though, Carrizo Springs, Cotulla now. 102. Typically hotter spots are living up to their reputation. Tomorrow, upper 90s right near 100. And just a 20% chance. So an isolated or a few stray showers and storms in the afternoon. 100 along the Rio Grande. And Saturday will drop the temperature to 96, just a smidge because of extra cloud cover and the higher rain chances. But it's an amazing pattern for August considering we still have some heat, upper 90s near 100. That's normal, but almost daily rain chances. It's nice. All right, so every so often, remember weeks ago we talked about this? Blowing glass. Oh, I pop a hole in the thermometer. Never a good thing, and usually you'll hear me let out some kind of a screech because it makes a popping noise and it flares up. Ooh! You've heard it. I know you've heard it in here before. Anyway, so I don't always just have to throw in the towel. What I do is I take that part of the thermometer, get it really hot. We had to speed this up, insert that noise there, the reel, and then I smush it to close that little hole. Sometimes I have to do that a few times in order to actually close the hole. But the best part about this is then if I can salvage it, it can make for some of the most unique bulbs. The most unique shaped bulbs. And I've got the one I'm working on over there. I think you heard me a little bit ago with my reaction. This might be one where I just have to say I'm moving on. But I have others where I'm closing the hole, getting a weird shape, and you just don't know what's going to come of it. Okay. And so they're going to make some good giveaways.
Once you close it, do you then have to reshape it so it's kind of like bigger at the bottom?
No, you just have to start blowing the glass again and get the bulb going again.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and sometimes I do kind of squeeze.
So they're all one of a kind?
They are. They're like snowflakes.
Okay.
They can be similar, but no two are identical. KSAT.com/thermometer to enter the drawing. I'll have these more unique ones in the weeks ahead.
Cool, cool. Thanks, Kasky.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back. So Spurs fans now can plan out most of their fall because the NBA schedules just came out. It's just one of the stories.
I like how they served this up, quite literally. Larry joining us now to talk KSAT Sports Now from the newsroom. Hey, Larry.
Yeah, hey, guys. So the Spurs did get creative this year with the release of their schedule, serving it up like you said. They broke it down as a menu at a restaurant with breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then they put out a cool little video with a chef making little food out of the other NBA teams and then slicing them up, all that kind of stuff, probably implying that the Spurs are going to beat them. So, yes, we're going to talk about the Spurs 2025-26 NBA schedule. We already knew some of their games because they had been leaked out over the past few days, but we do know they're opening at the Dallas Mavericks, and then their home game, their home season openers 2 days later at 1 in the afternoon with Brooklyn. They're going to take on the Thunder in Oklahoma City on Christmas Day. So we're going to have more key dates for the Spurs. And Mary Rominger was at the Frost Bank Center today when the schedule came out, and she caught up with a member of the Spurs and talked to this person about their excitement for the upcoming season. We're also going to talk about the KSAT Pigskin Classic involving Clark and Sotomayor. And of course, we got NFL with the Cowboys and the Texans. KSAT Sports Now starts at 7 o'clock. We'll be right back.
All right, looking ahead, we have those slight rain chances tomorrow, but better odds on Saturday. That's what we're focusing on. Some tropical downpours. We could get a quick 3 inches or so in some neighborhoods, but keep in mind this system is progressive. So right now flooding odds are pretty low, but something to monitor, and we'll keep you updated.
All right, thanks, Adam. And thank you for watching the news at 6.
We'll see you right back here for the night feed.